Hello, Mystic Travelers, and welcome to the first episode of our exploration into the biggest or one of the most influential astrological phenomena of the week. And this is going to be reflected through the lens of tarot and through the Kabbalistic tree of life. So let's get started. This week, the week of March 15 to 21st, the biggest astrological event happening is going to be the Spring Equinox, which is when the sun is going to enter Aries on March 20th. So I put this Emperor card out, and we'll discuss it a little more later, because the Emperor has to do with Aries and with what we're going to talk about in regards to the Kabbalistic tree. So Aries, we were talking about, I did a reading for February 20th called the Aries 0 Point. So Aries begins the zodiac cycle, and it is cardinal fire, or the initiating force. So this is not subtle at all. This is life igniting, right? This is the spark that's going to get you moving. So 5 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Swords, followed by 5 of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. Okay. So life areas that are activated in this astrological configuration is leadership roles, physical vitality. We see that with the Emperor here. Now, with this 9 of Pentacles energy, once again, we're getting the idea of leadership within your own life. Taking the initiation. But remember, with every astrological or tree of life aspect, there's always the shadow part. And that's where this, we're getting a lot of 5s here, right? So you're going to need to watch out for the shadow aspects, or the distorted, imbalanced aspects. So on the tree of life, this astrological event is understood by the Emperor card. So once again, we have authority and leadership, but in its distortion, we have rigidity, we have clinging, we have sticking to old authoritarian style mindsets. And the Hebrew letter for this is He, and the path on the tree of life is Chokmah to Tiphereth. And so Chokmah is the primordial force that descends into personal identity with Tiphereth. So it is the structural descent of will, so your willpower into the self. So this is going to have a lot to do this month with where you're aiming your energy. I'm sorry, this week is going to have to do with aiming your energy. But honestly, with something as big as an equinox, you are going to, with something as big as an equinox, it is going to take the full month probably to really get this expressed fully. So just to let you know, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn placements are going to be most affected by this, especially with 0 to 5 degrees, 5%. Boy, my brain's working today. 0 to 5 degrees cardinal signs. So in this, love can become passionate and direct. So if you're listening to this about love, there's going to be a sense of directness. But with the shadow aspect, with the 2 of Swords here, be careful that you don't end up in a romantic situation where both parties are stagnant against each, like, oh, I'm waiting for the other person to move because I'm worried that I'm pushing too hard, or vice versa. Because remember, this has to do with vitality. So you don't want to get stuck in this energy. And when it comes to major life initiatives, with these 2 5 cards, you do not want to get stuck in your own head about what you want to do, especially with your personal direction and your major life movements. We have a lot of this powerful energy with Pentacles, and so that means there's going to be a lot of grounded things, like real world things that you want to take into account. You could want to step forward very boldly in your career, with this Queen of Pentacles energy, being very empowered within yourself and grounded. And like everything with aces, you have to take the initiative to move from this Ace of Pentacles energy into this Nine of Pentacles independent energy, and then taking that even a step further into the Queen of Pentacles. So when it comes to career and with love, if you're looking for either of these for this week, the Fool is taking a leap of faith. This is the unmanifest, manifesting down into reality. Now let's go back to the idea of the Emperor and it being on the tree of life from Chokmah to Tiphereth. So the light expression of the Hay current, which is the current between Chokmah and Tiphereth, is inner sovereignty. So authority that rises from inner alignment and not dominance. Okay, so this is you balancing this Emperor energy with this Queen of Pentacles this Queen of Pentacles current. Another light expression of the Hay current is courage. So action flows from your higher wisdom and not the ego defensiveness. So that would be your higher wisdom. Once again, we're looking at the Fool here. The Fool is the unmanifest. So, but not being overridden by your ego defensiveness. So kind of the idea that you're going to want to latch onto control during this time period, this transition period, with this balance of dark and light. You're going to want to hyper focus on one area, but really you need to let it flow. And another light expression is new beginnings, emerging from clarity of purpose. And I just said emergency on accident, but I feel like that's kind of relevant, because I feel like something in this month is going to feel very, very like you might catastrophize it. Look at this, a lot of major arcana energy going on here. Yeah, you're going to feel the weight of it. And remember, this has to do with like building a healthy ego structure, because the moon is about confusion and your subconscious mind. And we're talking about Aries energy. So the moon is going to like basically come at you, even confusingly, in a way that is aggressive. And so you need to counter that with this Hermit energy. Doesn't mean isolate yourself. It means focusing on your own light and what you can change and what can make your life better. And we're going to expand upon this by talking about the distortions of Hay, because of the pathway Hay on the tree, is because what basically the pitfalls you want to avoid, which is ego inflation, the shadow aspect or reversal of the Emperor, the idea that your power can override or bypass your awareness. And when that happens, you lose true independence, represented by this Nine of Pentacles, and you actually start embodying victimhood, right? So just keep that in mind as we're doing this transition. So ask yourself, are you acting from alignment or from insecurity this month? So another one of the unbalanced distortions of this would be the impulse mistaken for divine authority. So if you're having a lot of spiritual downloads or things like that, make sure that you're grounding yourself in reality as well. Remember, on the tree of life, every energy center needs to be balanced. There we go. We're getting that energy of distortion. The impulse mistaken for divine authority. Eight of Swords. And with this impulse mistaken for divine authority, it's very easy to say, oh, I know what's right. And it doesn't just have to be in the spiritual lane. It can be in any lane. I'm right. I'm right. Once again, we're getting the idea of the ego overtaking rather than helping you in your balance and independence. Yeah, with the balance of the scales here, impatience, making sure that your actions are not outrunning your coherence. What does that mean? It means if you try to move too fast or you get too ahead of yourself, so to speak, in what you wish, and you don't have time to integrate it or balance it, then you're going to find yourself in a state where you are overwhelmed, weighed down, that kind of energy. So with this happening, let's go ahead and pull an affirmation card to kind of set you up for the week. So let's go over this again. For this week, watch out for impatience, especially, like I said, if you're in those signs I mentioned earlier, which were, let me see if I remember, was it Aries, Capricorn? Yeah, you said it earlier. And so make sure that you're focusing on your own sovereignty, but that it does not get distorted into ego inflation. I'm brave enough to climb any mountain. It's going to kind of feel like that, I believe. It's going to take a lot of courage to get through this equinox, because the astrological changes are very dramatic, especially in Aries. Especially, like we said, we just had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 20th that will kind of escalate this Aries energy. So be very careful that the distortion, you don't fall into the distortion of being too rigid, or the distortion of victimhood, or taking on more than you can handle. So last of all, with this justice, it's time for you to balance things out. You want to be in this justice energy and not in this Two of Swords energy. All right, Mystic Travelers, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.